Hello everyone, welcome back to Can Mansa. I hope this video series of Indian polity Lakshmikant is being helpful to you. From next Monday, we will be also bringing the topics related to environment from the Shankar IAS environment book. We will be covering the whole book in around 30 classes. There are around 30 chapters in that book also. So like this, we will be also covering the books of Spectrum, Modern Indian History, and Nitin Singhania for Indian Art and Culture, and so on and so forth. We'll be covering almost all the important books for the basics for UPSC. So these videos will be helpful for UPSC students who are aspiring for 2023-2024 onwards, and also for the students who are aspiring for SSC banking examination. So today's video is regarding the 11th chapter of the Lakshmikant book, that is the basic structure of the constitution. So let's see what a basic structure means. It is generally, what is a basic structure is it is a literal meaning, right? Basic structure means the structure on which all of the constitution is standing. Although it has not been clearly defined within the constitution, it has not been defined, but it has been evolved a judicial evolution. Through 1973 Keshavananda Bharati case, we will be talking about the evolution of basic structure, how it evolved throughout the various cases and amendments. Okay, but what you need to understand is basic structure is that part of constitution. If there is an amendment in that particular part, then it will alter the basic tenets of our constitution, and that is what is not, generally needed, or what generally is not a good thing according to various Supreme Court judgments. So basic structure means the part of constitution that cannot be altered for all the academic purpose, right? So talking about the evolution of the doctrine. So basic structure, as I told you, has not been defined anywhere in the constitution, or not even been mentioned. So how it evolved and what are its meaning, and what are the few features of the basic structure of Indian constitution that has been come into light through various judicial pronouncements. We will be talking about that in this video. So how it emerged. So the amendability of the constitution was in controversy since the very first Constitutional Amendment Act, that is the first Constitutional Amendment Act. The right to property was curtailed, and it was challenged in the Supreme Court in the Shankar Prasad case, Shankar Prasad versus Union of India. So in this case, it was mostly regarding the fundamental rights, because Article 13 of Indian Constitution states that the fundamental rights cannot be abrogated by any law. Any law cannot be there to abrogate the fundamental rights. So in Shankar Prasad case, because the right to property was fundamental right, it was challenged, and that this amendment was unconstitutional. However, in Shankar Prasad case, the opinion of the Supreme Court was that Constitutional Amendment Act under 368, Article 368 is not a law. Hence, Parliament can use Article 368 to amend the Constitution and abrogate fundamental rights. So that means Article 368 comes in, Article 13 goes away, right? Because Article 13, as I have also mentioned in our fundamental rights chapter, that Article 13 states that no fundamental rights cannot be taken away by any law. So according to this case, Shankar Prasad case, Article 368 and Constitutional Amendment Act under Article 368 is not a law, not an ordinary law. Hence, it can be used to abrogate fundamental rights. But the same observation was reversed in Golaknath case of 1967. In the 7th Constitution, by 7th Constitutional Amendment Act, 9th schedule was introduced, and anything that was kept in 9th schedule was kept out of judicial review. So here also, now the court opined that Constitutional Amendment Act is also like any other law. Hence, it cannot be used to amend the fundamental rights of any citizen. So whatever the court pronounced in Shankar Prasad case 1951, it was reversed in 1967 Golaknath case. So this has been a longer tussle between the Parliament and the courts. So Parliament, through 24th Constitutional Amendment Act, amended both Article 13 and Article 368. Parliament has power to abridge or take away any fundamental rights according to the 24th Constitutional Amendment. So the fundamental rights can be taken away by the parliament, and for that parliament amended Article 13 and Article 368, giving power to itself to amend any part of the constitution, including fundamental rights, and it can be taken away. This was challenged in Keshwananda Bharti case, one of the most famous case of Indian history. So in this case, Supreme Court pronounced Parliament cannot abridge or take away a fundamental right which forms a part of basic structure. So from here came the basic structure doctrine. The date of this pronouncement was 24th April 1973. On 24th April 1973, the court pronounced that anything and everything that is the part of basic structure of the constitution cannot be taken away by the parliament, whether it is a fundamental right or any other thing. So now most of the Constitutional Amendment Act are being challenged on the grounds that they are violative of the basic structure doctrine that was pronounced in the Keshwananda Bharti case. Okay. So moving ahead, again, there was, as I've told you, the parliament, there is no parliamentary or judicial supremacy in India. Here is the supremacy of the constitution. So there may be some other tussle. So responding to that 1973 Keshwananda Bharti case, kind of. So there was elections in 1975 in India, and the Indira Gandhi, the election of Indira Gandhi was challenged in the court. So by 39th Constitutional Amendment Act of 1975, the parliament brought this, that election disputes of prime minister related to prime minister, speaker of Lok Sabha were out of the jurisdiction of the court. So by 39th Constitutional Amendment Act, according to the parliament, election disputes of the prime minister and the speaker of the Lok Sabha were out of the purview of the jurisdiction of any court. So they cannot be challenged within any court. So this was again challenged in the court. And in this, court says that the basic structure, so election and the judicial review, that is the power of the court to review anything, or the power of the court to have its own judgment regarding the election dispute. It was, so election dispute can be challenged in High Court and Supreme Court. So it is a part of basic structure, and hence it cannot be taken away by any amendment, nullifying the 39th Constitutional Amendment Act. So till now we can see the 24th Constitutional Amendment Act was nullified, not exactly nullified, but was restricted a few features. And now the 39th Constitutional Amendment Act was nullified by the court in the Indira Nehru Gandhi case, Indira Gandhi versus Union of India case 1970. Moving ahead, then through 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act, Parliament amended the Article 368 itself, giving it enormous power to amend any part of the Constitution, and also making the Constitutional Amendment Act out of purview of judiciary. That means by this amendment, Parliament said that any amendment made by the Parliament cannot be reviewed in the judiciary. However, in 1980s, in the Minerva Mill case, judicial review was established and said judiciary can review each and everything that is done by the Parliament. So judicial review is the basic structure of Indian Constitution. This was again reaffirmed in Vaman Rao case 1981, that Parliament cannot expand amending powers, this 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act, to abrogate Constitution or destroy its basic features. So basic feature doctrine has been reiterated by courts in multiple cases, and we will be talking about the court cases in separate video, and also the amendments in the separate video. In this video, we have discussed only those amendments and court cases which are relevant to the basic structure feature. And this feature, that is the basic structure doctrine, will be applicable to all amendments that are done after 24th April of 1973. That is the date of Keshwananda Bharti case, right? So like this, if you look into it from start, Shankari Prasad case, Golaknath case, 24th Amendment, Keshwananda Bharti case, 39th Amendment, Indira Nehru case, 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act, Minerva Mill case, and Vaman Rao case. You can remember this chronology, and you can remember what happened It is a very important part of a mains answer writing also, and you can use these cases and use these amendments in separate answer writing also, and there may be a question in prelims also. So this is how the doctrine of basic structure emerged, and it was strengthened again by various cases, including Indira Gandhi case, Minerva Mills case, Vaman Rao case, so hence and so forth. So by different judicial pronouncement, few features has been made the elements of basic structure. We have discussed a few. Supremacy of the constitution, as I have told you, India follows supremacy of constitution, that is constitutional supremacy, no parliamentary supremacy, and neither judicial supremacy, right? Then India is a sovereign, democratic, and republic nature of polity, Indian polity, and it cannot be abrogated. Secular character of Indian constitution cannot be changed. Separation of power between legislature, executive, judiciary cannot be changed. Unity and integrity of nation, welfare state, judicial review, freedom and dignity of individual, parliamentary system, rule of law, principle of equality, free and fair election, harmony and balance between fundamental rights and DPSP, and federal character of the constitution. So the balance between fundamental rights and DPSP is again a very important question, and we'll be discussing in a separate video. So fundamental rights in themselves are not the part of basic structure, right? So you can see in this part also, where in the Keswananda Bharti case also, so parliament cannot abridge or take away a fundamental right which forms a part of basic structure. So Supreme Court has not pronounced that which are the fundamental rights that cannot be taken away, but it has said that those fundamental rights which are basic part of basic structure cannot be taken away. It means those which are not the part of basic structure can be taken away. For example, Article 31, right to property, right? So moving ahead, so if there is a question which states that, okay, which of the following is a part of basic structure doctrine? If there is written fundamental rights, so fundamental rights are not the part of basic structure of Indian constitution, because some of them can be abrogated, which can be or which cannot be. Generally, it is pronounced by the Supreme Court judiciary in different cases, case to case basis, right? So following are a few questions. Which of the following statement is correct? The Constitution clearly lays down what its basic structure is. The Supreme Court has elaborately defined the basic structure of the Constitution. The Law Commission of India, with the help of Attorney General of India, has defined the basic structure of the Constitution. Neither the Supreme Court nor the Parliament have defined the basic structure of the Constitution. So no one have defined it. Supreme Court takes it on the case-to-case basis. So all the three statements are incorrect. You may get confused in this particular statement. So Supreme Court has not defined it. Case-to-case basis, it is bringing out the pronouncement, right? Next, which of the following amendment inserted the provision saying nothing in Article 13 shall apply to any amendments made under Article 368? So you can look into that if we look into our own today's session only, in this only. So this Article 24th Amendment Act we have talked about. So this is the amendment, 24th Amendment Act, which says that nothing in Article 13 shall apply to any amendments made under Article 368. That is amending both Article 13 and 368, making 368 over Article 13 permanently. This was in response to Golaknath case. Okay? So this was all about basic structure doctrine, very important chapter, and mostly the cases and the amendments. Thank you very much. Also, I have been telling you this, we have started the answer writing practice. So you can join our Telegram channel, it is free for every student, and we will evaluate it. And also you can subscribe the channel and keep watching our videos for any updates. Thank you very much. All the very best.